I think at the end of 2024, as we looked at that first year, I realized that I didn't need to win. I just needed to keep doing what I loved.
Welcome back to Weddings Unwrapped, the show where we dive into the stories behind the businesses that started from nothing but a dream. I'm Daniel Driggs, the owner of the Northampton House and Crisp Catering. And today I have a special guest, Ben Smith, the owner of Ben and Annie's, or co-owner of Ben and Annie's Flowers,
Yep.
and a good friend of mine growing up. We went to the same high school. We worked in the same digital marketing job, and kind of started our wedding businesses around the same time.
Yeah,
I don't know
similar.
what was in the water, but we kind of just both went that same way, and it's been really fun to see your company grow. It's been really fun. It's really cool to see your progression from high school and where you've come from and everything else. And so we're really grateful you're on the show. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So give me the background. Give me the story of starting Ben and Annie's Florals. How'd you get there? You were in digital marketing.
Yep.
You worked for a company, Best Company. Then you went somewhere else in digital marketing as well, right? Or what was that?
A little bit different. Yeah.
Okay,
We can walk
me.
through there.
Yes, I love it.
So I was at Best Company, did a bunch of different things with them, from marketing to sales to business development, and then transitioned out and I went to a company up in the Draper area. It's called Optum. It's a subsidiary of United Healthcare. And I went in as a consultant and ended as the manager of their data and analytics team for the states of Utah and Idaho.
Cool.
Super unique experiences.
Yeah.
Great. All along, though, we had been doing florals on the side. So we've been doing florals for the past 7 years. It started when I was still attending BYU. And I walked into work one day and one of my coworkers just was losing it. And it was an early morning shift. I think we were there at 5 a.m. And she's like, my florist just canceled on me. I have bridals in 3 days. And I said, okay, well, I mean, that's no fun, but let's solve that problem. What do you need?
Yeah.
And so she just told me what she was looking for and kind of the vibe of the bouquet she was looking for. And I said, great. I'm just going to go buy flowers, make you a bouquet, and I'll tell you how much the bouquet cost.
Yeah.
And I just charged her for the flowers. And after that, I had 4 of my coworkers within like 6 months ask me to do their weddings. And then from there, it just kind of arrived.
Kept going.
Yeah.
Wow. How was that? Do you look back on that first set of flowers and stuff? Do you have any regrets of that? Because that's kind of, were there any like, oh, I didn't do a good job? Or because you were so nervous about not doing a good job, you watched every YouTube video, you went all in?
I mean, so I grew up in a household where my mom always had a rose garden. We always had flowers around, and I would always help her with things like that from a very young age.
Cool.
I also have always loved gardening, so being around plants wasn't unfamiliar. I will say, though, that first bouquet that I made, I've never made one like it again. It was a very unique style, and it's still one of my favorites.
Oh, wow.
Uniquely. I don't think everybody can claim that.
No, my first event, I promise, is not my favorite.
Yeah. Though I will say we've come a very long way.
Yeah.
I think I have zero regrets kind of looking back to that. I think at the end of the day, I never saw myself getting into a creative space, though it was something that was a massive part of my life growing up. So it was a really unique change for me and something that I feared for a long time.
Yeah, talk to me about that creative element. How do you view being creative? What aspects of business can you be more creative with versus not? Walk me through why creativity is important to you.
Yeah. I mean, I think it really goes back to what some people will talk about kind of growing up. And I feel like this was something that was pushed, was find something that you love and make that into something that you want to do forever. And I was like, yeah, but the things I love don't align. I was a musician. I was in musical theater. I played sports. I kind of did a little bit of everything.
Yes.
But I received a lot of criticism for the creativity that I expressed as a kid. And that always pushed me away from it. And it made me feel like the stereotype was that I needed to go get a desk job and I needed to stick to that. And I needed to do it my entire life to provide for a family and do all those things. And that I wouldn't be successful if I tried to do something else in the creative space. So for me to break that barrier was big, but honestly, it's something that's taken me a number of years to feel comfortable with and sometimes still is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some of those kind of hesitancies or talk to me about, let's dig into that a little bit more. Go through that initial setting up the barriers. How did that happen? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think from a young age, I actually, in an unfortunate way, I was bullied quite a bit. I don't know how much of that you might have known. But for 9 years, I was severely bullied by specifically a group of individuals that I went to school with for my creativity. And it put me in a position where I was really afraid to express it as an adult and coming out of like school and moving forward in that aspect. And so I think for me, being able to receive recognition in a positive light for the creativity I was expressing in florals built over time. Right. Yeah. So as not only did we pick up additional clients, but then we had people referring us, and I don't think we ever thought we were going to really launch into it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But then the further that we went along that line, the more it became clear that it was okay. And I think from my standpoint, it was okay for me to break the norm, to be a straight male in a floral industry in Utah, is very unique.
Yeah.
To be in that type of realm. I don't know of many others. And if they're out there, let's make a group. And the reality is, but I was afraid of florists. I was afraid that I wasn't going to level up and I wasn't going to be on the same playing field for a long time. And my wife, Annie, who is crucial to all of this, we work together a lot and it's really fun. But it's been really interesting because anytime I'll go to an event, people will immediately assume that it's her business and that I'm just
and
there.
You're just helping out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And half the time she's just there because I'm running the entire event and she's at home with the kids or like with Flip Flop. And there's so much back and forth with that. And so I ended up quitting my full-time job just over a year ago. Last year was our first full year in florals, but I also then became stay-at-home dad, running our floral business. We planted a peony farm, started working in a wedding venue. And my wife had then flipped the role to providing a steady income. So she went back to her role as an accountant to give us benefits for the time because we're ground upping this thing. Yes. So it's been nuts.
Yes. No, it doesn't sound stressful at all. And it sounds like you have found the work-life balance, right? That's what you're looking for, right? No.
Send all the good vibes.
Yes. No, and that's the thing is, and I'm kind of in that same all in nature. Yeah. I think as young entrepreneurs, you have to go all in. Yeah. And I think there are no handouts. And one of the things that has been impactful for me in my life is you have to sacrifice at some point in your life, at least 5 years.
Yeah.
It's medical school. It's dentistry school. It's whatever it is, you can sacrifice it then for those years. And I do not envy anyone in medical school.
Amen.
It sounds miserable. Yep. It's just, and it's sleepless nights and it's crazy. But that's their sacrifice and the rewards come. I think the same thing has to happen in entrepreneurship. You have to experience those failures and go for it. And exactly what you're saying, I need health benefits and I need to support my kids and my wife's going back to work and I just started this business or just made this leap of faith and you're starting to manage a full venue as well.
Yep.
It's fun. And
it's a party.
Crazy. Yep. Yes. Keeps you young and makes you old all at the same time. Yeah. It's fun. So talk to me a little bit about being a male florist. What were some of those hurdles that we as a society have set up that stopped you or made you hesitant? And then what successes have you had that maybe, and I don't care to get into gender norms too much, but that
Sure.
maybe the viewpoint you have as a straight male versus the traditional. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really unique because I don't even know how to phrase it, to be honest with you. I think the biggest thing for me has just been getting to a place where I can recognize that what I am expressing is just a part of who I am. Like each of us have creativity in different realms and in different ways, and the way we express it is different. Whether that's analytically, whether that's logically, whether that's in a creative sense, we all have a different way that we express that. And it's really interesting between myself and my wife, Annie, because she is so much more analytical and logical than I am. And I'm like off the wall sometimes. Like I'll just go for it. And so it's been really interesting to balance that out and just recognize that like we all come in such different ways. I think the biggest thing when it comes to like the gender norms, shall we say, without like diving into it is that it's really uncommon to have a straight male in that much of a creative space here in Utah specifically.
Yeah.
And I respect all the florists out there. I think they're absolutely incredible, and we have such a plethora of them here in the state. There's actually an outrageous number of florists, which is pretty awesome. And they all have different styles and different ways in which they perform and different methodologies. And I think for me, the wins that I have seen are when I actually get in front of a client or even getting on the phone with a client.
Yeah.
I think that it'd be really interesting, and I'd be fascinated to run a survey on it. If we ran a survey on people who just came across our profile, I'd love to see who they thought ran the business.
Yeah.
Because we both do, but in different ways.
Yes.
From a design perspective, at least for the past year, I've done the vast majority of it because like Annie's working elsewhere, and then she wants to come home and be mom.
Yes.
And so that means that like largely that is my animal to play with a little bit. And so I think the wins that I've had is when I can get on the phone with someone, something changes because they'll recognize it doesn't matter anymore. I'm not talking to some random person who's just helping with the business. Like you actually know what you're talking about. Yeah. And I think I'm a fairly personable person. Totally. Potentially.
No, totally. Totally.
Anyone out there who feels differently, please feel free to chime in. But I think I've just realized that once I can get to that space, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And it's taken me years to get there, to get to a place where I just don't have to care and I can just do whatever I want to and find the successes. And I think at the end of 2024, as we looked at that first year, I realized that I didn't need to win. I just needed to keep doing what I loved. And it was happening and it was working. And it came with a lot of different things. Like it came with stepping into the venue space, which is something I've wanted to do for a while. Yeah. And that's been a wild and crazy adventure. And then planting a peony farm and running flowers, like all of those things have allowed me to do that. And I'm stepping further and further away from caring what anyone else thinks. Yeah. Which I think is a really big step for me.
Well, I think it's so impactful, and I think it's the prerequisite of being creative. Yeah. You cannot be creative if you care about what everyone thinks. It's impossible. And in a world of flowers, it's the emotional creative that you have to be on your game for, or else you just can't create. Yeah. If your hands are tied, if you're so nervous, how are you supposed to make this beautiful bouquet for this person if you're worried about what you think or whatever either?
Well, and it isn't just like the product either. Like I think that's one of those things in the wedding industry that I'm sure you've come across is it's the experience. Yes. And that experience has to flow seamlessly and they have to feel trust. And being a wedding vendor is a very hard task. Yeah. Because you're taking what is potentially one of the most impactful days of someone's life and you are in charge. They're giving you that liberty and that control. And you have to be able to deliver on that and own up to it, and feel really confident and comfortable with that. And that's a hard space to be in.
Yeah. And it's a hard space to leap into as well. Cause it's like, there's not a lot of blueprints for creating a wedding business, but you just have to go for it. Yeah. And you kind of got a fun break where your coworker is like, oh crap, I need a florist. And you just said, let's do it. Let's make it happen. And it's cool that you've run with it and run through that.
It's a marathon.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. It is a marathon. What do you think sets you apart as a florist in an industry full of talent and creativity? What is different about Ben and Annie's Florals that no one else has?
That's a hard question. I think at the end of it, it really would come down to experience for me. I think that's something that I value dramatically, sometimes to a fault, is making sure that somebody can walk into whatever type of consultation we may have, whether that's even just a phone call, a video call, an in-person consultation, a walkthrough of the venue, and to walk out feeling happy, like at peace with what's happening and excited. And I think that's something we've been able to accomplish, where we actively focus on building those relationships with our clients, so that it's not just like we're getting a random phone call. Like, we're going to have your number in our phone. We're going to know exactly who you are. And we're going to be following up on those things to make sure that you're feeling completely prepped for what's happening. And I think that our clients would probably say the same. I would hope so. I mean, I've heard it from some, but I think that's something really unique that we've been able to foster, is a very specific experience that is catered to the client.
Walk me through that experience. So I'm I am a bride who wants to get married in the beautiful Northampton house. Walk me through some of what, that experience means to you. Sure.
I think the first thing is to just set expectations of what you want. What is your dream? What's your vision? Even if that's, because I'll have a slew of different approaches where people will be like, can I just text you some pictures and you send me a quote? And it's like, well, sure, but I'm going to need a little bit more than that. There's so many ins and outs to florals that people may not know. Specific bloom types, size of blooms, quality of blooms, where they're coming from, how old they're going to be, how to process them for the day of. There's so many things that go into prepping for a day that take months in advance. And so being able to start that conversation with what are your expectations? What are your hopes? If you don't have enough information, then I'm going to send you a list, and here's some things I want you to think of. And then I want to hop on a call in a week or even tomorrow if you have the time, but I want you to come prepared. Right. And let's look at what's your inspo. If you had to define your wedding in 1 or 2 words, what would you say? That's going to give me an idea of where you're headed. And then I can jump off with you. We're going to talk through specific flowers. I'm going to show you pictures of those. I'm going to match them together. We're going to talk about how to style that so that you feel like you're a part of the design process. But then from there as well, we're going to send you over a quote that has a breakdown of everything, not only of what you're getting, but what it's costing you. I think that's one of the things that I struggle with the most with the floral industry here. And granted, I don't know how everybody does it, but some of those that I have seen, I guess I am just not quite aligned with. And that's that I want people to know exactly what they're paying for, because I didn't come from a situation where I had a massive budget for my wedding. I just didn't. And so for me, that really matters to me to know, well, these are the things that are most important. It's stressful enough to plan a wedding. So for every single one of your vendors to send you a blank number and say, here's what it's going to cost, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to send you an a la carte breakdown that's going to tell you exactly what every single thing that we talked about is going to look like with different options, different ways we can style it, suggestions, and we're going to walk through that together. And then we're going to mix and match, and we're going to find what works for you. So I think it really comes down to catering you on a journey to find what is best for you, whether that's every single thing that you asked for or whether that's a little bit of it, because that's what's most important to you.
Yeah. I think that's one of your guys' cool strengths is you guys have tried to make florals accessible to everyone.
We're doing our best.
Yeah. And
it's hard.
It's hard because you have to run a business. And this is for anyone getting into the floral space or starting a floral company. How has that decision helped, hindered? What is being accessible to everyone mean to you? Why is that a value for you? Just go through that.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's really going to come down to, you're obviously going to have to do a lot more events when you're taking on those smaller clients. Which can be hard, and it can be time consuming, and some people will feel like it's not worth it. My biggest issue is that for me, that would have been myself. I would have pushed myself out of the realm of I'm going to help you, because we didn't have that. We didn't have that opportunity from a financial standpoint. To go and spend thousands upon thousands of dollars on our florals, let alone on our entire wedding. We didn't want to do that. And so I think for us, it's been a battle. We've had to really push with it, and we have had to make some decisions. But at the end of the day, I don't want anyone to feel like they aren't able to have the same thing. They may not be able to have the exact same product, but I still want everyone to be able to walk out of their wedding feeling that they have been able to have the best day possible, that they've been able to accomplish what they've wanted to, even if it isn't on the same budget that everyone else has. So I would say the thing that other florists would probably say is like, it's not sustainable for me from a time standpoint, and I get that.
Yeah.
But that is something that I have not yet been willing to give up.
Yeah.
And I hope I don't have to, truthfully.
Yeah. What are your thoughts in 10 years from now? What's the direction? Because obviously if you hire someone, that's more cost.
Yeah.
If you, expand your business, it's more cost. It's less affordable, or it's not as easy to say, oh yeah, I can spend 5 hours on this wedding that I'm going to make $50 on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
that's pushing it.
Yeah, I know. I know. So give me your vision on that. What do you guys think you're going to do? And
yeah, it's a good question. I wish I had all the answers. I honestly don't. I think at this point, in the past 2 years, we have seen a pretty crazy growth cycle, which has been really fun. To go from a certain level of wedding when it comes to cost to working in the luxury realm, working with planners and having those relationships, which has been incredible. We love the people that we work with. There is an incredible community here in Utah of wedding vendors. Yeah. It's so deep. And that is very unique in that.
And they're willing to help out.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's a community. It really is. There is very much a communal and familial sense around that, which is really neat. And so I think with that, because we've been able to branch into some of the larger scale, there will be some we have to say no to due to time constraints. But I think because of that, it will still allow us, from a financial standpoint, it will allow us to really continue to leave those doors open as long as possible as we continue to expand our team. There's also overlap. I mean, there's so many overlaps in product shippings and cost and design, where you have color overlaps. There's ways for you to make things work while still being extremely intentional with everything that you're getting for your clients. So that's been something that we've done. We've expanded our team this year, and that's an animal as it is. Yes. When it comes to training and what type of things you want to do. And you obviously have been through all of that with everything that you've done with Crisp and Northampton.
And that trust is something that you have to learn as you try to grow. Yeah. If you want to grow, you have to learn to trust. If you want to stay in the same exact or at the same spot, you just can't. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust employees. You have to trust that the mistakes that they experience are going to be the same or are going to be the growth for their learning and things like that, just like we have as we've started businesses and made mistakes. Talk to me about collaborating with event planners and how did you put your foot in the door? Mm-hmm. How did you first start reaching out to people? What has been your process in connecting with these event planners or venue owners or things like that?
That's a really good question. One of the event planners that we work with actually was totally accidental. In that we were booked last year for a wedding by a client. She came to us, and it was one of our bigger weddings of the year. But it was a 3-day in a row day. So
wedding?
There were multiple events.
They did like
so they did a bridal shoot. They did a temple ceiling, and then they did a full on like wedding day.
Fun.
But like 3 separate days, 3 separate bouquets, full wedding setup. So fun.
Way fun.
And this planner was
cool.
She was the event planner for the day of. Cool. So came across her, and then we've built relationships. And so that was huge. I think the other thing for me is I'll get on Instagram, I'll search for Utah wedding planners, and I will send audio messages. And more than anything, I will just send them a message and say, hey, this is who we are and this is what we do. Yeah. And I'll walk them through that process of how we book our clients, what makes us unique, and then ask them what they're looking for. I'm not afraid to talk to people, but also just to let them know what's available. And I think sometimes we sit inside of our bubble because we're afraid to break out of it, or we don't want to go to a networking event because we don't have anyone to go with.
Yeah.
And like, I've been there. Yes. I didn't go to any. Like one of the first ones I came to was here at the Northampton. Yes. But it changes everything. The minute that you're able to meet people, if you haven't done an expo, go to an expo.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
If you're afraid of spending the money on marketing, just spend it.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you to throw money away, but like, it's going to work out in some way.
Yes. Whether it's the you meet 15 event planners that are also there, and no one ever gets a floor or asks for a bouquet or asks for pricing. Yep. Fine. That's a good point. Okay, I'm going to shift a little bit.
Let's shift.
Business partnership.
Yeah.
You are in business with your wife.
I am.
Which
club.
Yes. Which not a lot of people have experienced. Yeah. What has been, and obviously you focus on one thing, she focuses on more the business side, you focus on more the creative design.
For now.
For now. And it will change as all partnerships do. But walk me through, how have you guys stayed in your own lanes? How have you guys communicated? How have you guys balanced and not stepped on each other's toes?
Yeah, like, should I call her?
Yeah.
I might get in trouble for that. Yes. No, I think it's been a journey, to be quite candid. I would say it has been one of our greatest difficulties and one of our greatest strengths. We've had a whirlwind of a couple years, I guess we could say, when it comes to kids, when it comes to family, and all of the things that we've been doing, the businesses. We've made a lot of decisions, and some of those decisions aren't as conventional. Yeah. Like, leaving a corporate job to just go and dive in and, her going back and not being in the home anymore and feeling, like she wants to be mom more and not having that. There's so much sacrifice involved. But I think as well, we early on had to sit down and just say, okay, here are the things that I really care about, and I'm going to take care of these. And here are the things that you really care about. You're going to take care of these. Here are the things that overlap. And we had to come to that decision together so that we could understand where emotions were coming from in conversations. Are we perfect at it? Absolutely not. If anyone is, then
weird.
I'm maybe worried about you. Or congratulations. Either way.
We have never fought.
Yeah, right?
Yet. Just kidding.
I mean, we fight over moving furniture, but there's the creative side, I guess. And fighting is a generous term. But I think, some of our greatest disagreements come over a bridal bouquet, where it's like, I've made a bouquet and it's like, all right, you're the final say. I need you to help with this. And, so it's those processes of like what things are going to happen. I think it also comes down to finances. Like, what business does not fight over finances?
Yeah. Hey, we should spend on this. No way. Yeah. Yes.
Or like, actually, I already did.
Yes.
Sorry. So I think there's a lot of like checks and balances with that. And I think we really just have to sit down frequently. I'd say at least on a quarterly basis to sit down and rehash. And it's we're going to like get a sitter for the kids. We're going to go out to dinner, or we're going to take some time for ourselves. And we're going to deep dive into what's working, what isn't working, what are we excited about, what are we worried about, what's scary, and then addressing those things. And so I think for us, that has been one of our ways to just like pull time for ourselves, because we're not great at it. We're pulled so thin right now. Yeah. We're doing so many different things. And so I think pulling that has helped. But then I think the other thing too is, being able to call out at different times. Okay, at this point, like, I'm 95% creative, you're 5%. Or I'm 50, you're 50, or, or we're going to totally flip flop. Yeah. Just depending on the event, depending on the timing, whatever that looks like. Right. Annie's not here today because she is at the venue running tours, so like there's those things where we have to figure that out. But I really just comes down to communication and being willing to move on. Yeah. Fail fast and then move forward.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I think, we just talked about this on our last podcast, but Tiger Woods has missed more putts than anyone else and failing, but he's also made the biggest shots than anyone else in the history of golf. Yeah. Same thing in business. You just have to keep moving forward, keep acting, keep progressing, and keep failing, and be okay with those failures. Let's talk about a little bit more in pursuing the dream. Yeah. And let's talk about how your upbringing shaped your confidence to pursue your dream in this industry. Was there someone? Yeah. And then let's go into mentors right after. I want to hear if there are people that have inspired you and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I think a couple of different things. One, both of my parents were really they really pushed education. And I think that's part of, the whole go get your education and then go get a desk job and do this. And yes. I'm not saying that they pushed me in that direction at all, but I think there were a lot of societal norms that really pushed that.
Yeah.
At least I felt that way.
No. Yeah.
My mom is an educator, and she to this day still works with students that struggle with either ADD or ADHD or other learning disabilities. She's an incredible one-on-one helping individuals to kind of overcome those things and get back up to grade level. She's unmatched. Very
That's
impressed
awesome.
by her. And I think I was really blessed to learn how to learn from her and to learn how to just try. And she's done this from home for years, and it's been incredible after she left the classroom and when the kids came around. And then my dad's in the financial realm, and he's worked in all realms of finance and is in a financial role, a chief financial officer role of a company. And it's been really interesting to kind of glean from him learnings over the years. But then I also married an accountant, so then she really relates, and so it's really fun. So I think from an upbringing standpoint, I understood how to make smart decisions, how to take risks with appropriate kind of fallbacks, I guess, shall we say. And then, to be honest with you, I think I faced a lot of adversity growing up. And most of the people that I knew growing up don't know that. Yet a lot of them were part of it, and they don't know that either, which is really unique in that, I was that kid on the playground that I had rocks thrown at me for years and was told I couldn't come and play sports with kids at recess and that I wasn't allowed to be with them. And I think because of that, I want to say I developed a thick skin in some ways, and others I probably broke.
Yes. Well, you have this aura of confidence, and which is, and you have to, obviously, but that's interesting. And how'd you build that? Yeah, you were saying, I cut you off. I apologize.
No, you're fine. Yeah. I would say initially I blocked it all out.
Yeah.
And eventually I learned that the best way for me to progress was to just move forward, to be myself, to do the things that brought me joy. And I'm still working on that.
Yeah.
But I think that is what has allowed us to just continue to build. Is at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If I'm doing my best, if I'm trying, if I'm putting myself out there, then it's going to be fine, right? So I think that kind of goes back to I'm going to go to this expo, but I'm not going to walk away empty-handed. I'm going to go meet 25 people. Yeah. Even if it terrifies me, even if I don't know who they are, or even if there's people in my industry that I am intimidated by because they're incredible at what they do.
Yeah.
And the truth is, 2 weeks ago, I was at an event, met one of our very talented florists here in the state. She was incredible. She built some relationships for me and allowed me to then expand my business in ways that I wouldn't have been able to. And those are things that I was blinded to because of fear.
Yeah.
So I would say that kind of is the background of where things came from a how did this come to be standpoint. I don't know if that fully answered your question.
Totally.
So call it out if it doesn't.
No, it totally did. I think that that's really cool. And I love that adversity is something that shaped where you're at now, because again, you're an amazing florist. You're an amazing worker, great spouse to your wife, and run an awesome business and are helping out with both a venue and your kids. It's amazing. And I think that is something that's so cool that you put those things in the past and you just have moved forward and have been able to create this life of freedom, although obviously you have responsibility in a lot of it.
Yep.
But this life of freedom from the social norms, and you can create these beautiful things because of that freedom, which I'm so impressed by, and the confidence that you have is amazing. So
that's kind.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about mentorship.
Yeah.
Do you have any mentors that have really helped you pursue these dreams? And obviously your wife has got to be up there, but talk to me about mentors and what that means to you.
It's a good question. It's something that I talked about last week, but I don't know that I have mentors in the space, to be honest with you. And it's something, and I think it's my own doing that I've avoided. But I think the reality is that we're far enough into this that I've come to a place where I feel really confident in what I can produce. But I recognize my weaknesses. I recognize my areas where I am not the best. And so I can't say that I necessarily have like specific mentors, and it's something that I'd love to.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks that because of how I've scheduled myself, I haven't scheduled myself time to do that.
Yes.
But I will say, I don't take opportunities for granted. And Annie would probably laugh at me a little bit for that. In that, I talk to everyone. And I'm getting there to a point where I'm more comfortable with that again. But I mean, it's the same thing, talking to this florist a couple of weeks ago. I approached that conversation from I learned who you are, but also I really respect what you do. Tell me all about it. And we started that conversation, and walking away from it, I gained a lot more than I think she did.
Yeah.
From the relationships that she set me up with, and the people and the communities. And so I think at the end of the day, I would say that the Utah wedding community will be my mentor.
Yeah.
Because I am starting to break my barriers of not wanting to dive in because of my fear, and to be a little bit more willing to just say, hey, I'm ready to make all the relationships that I need to. I'm not afraid to wait around for a conversation to end to go and introduce myself, or to get on someone's social media and send them an audio message and just say, hey, this is who we are. I don't know if you'd ever need our services, but I'd love to connect with you. Obviously, like with caution and not spamming people, but like finding the right ones who are going to be looking for the things that we're offering. I think that's kind of where I landed. So
I love that.
There's floral experts out there that want to be a mentor. Let me know.
I love it. I love it. And yes, that's what's cool about the Utah community is I feel very similar. Is everyone's willing to help out. And so as much as I can help out, I want to help out.
Yeah.
So, okay. Looking forward, collaboration. Or I'm going to read this question real quick before I can, I'm going to ask it.
We're going to edit.
Yeah, we could, or we can just keep all of this talk in, which is fun. Let's see. What's next for your guys' floral business? Going to go into that. Yeah. What's next? What are you guys, what are you most excited for? Yeah. And what are you most scared of in the future?
Sure. This year's huge. Our books are a little bit scary. If that's maybe what I'm scared for is how busy things are, which is really exciting as well. So moving into peak season, it's going to be a little bit crazy. And we're building a studio in our home, which we have been doing. We've run this just out of like main space in our home. That's not happening anymore. You can't do it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be a flower shop. Like if I'm being candid, like we want to stay in the design realm when it comes to events. We're working on breaking into the corporate space this year in particular. We've got some big things lined up with that, which we're really excited about. But then also we've branched out into the luxury space of weddings, which is something we dabbled in last year, but it takes time. I mean, it takes time. You have to build trust, and you have to build those relationships with the right people, but also with the clientele. And I think that's one of those things that I am intimidated by, because though I treat every wedding as similar as I can, the quantities of things that we're looking at over the next year are pretty crazy and really awesome. But it does mean that we've expanded our team, and we've added to that, which is also one of those things from a growth perspective of kind of building a team behind us to then train and develop, which is really fun. It's fun to be able to bring people into something that they're really excited about and want to learn, and to, in some ways, become a mentor to them. At the end of the day, I'd love to keep them as long as I can, but if they want to go do their own thing, you have my blessing. Like, that's what we're here for.
That is one of the coolest things about the wedding industry is we work with young people.
Yeah.
We just do. And pretty cool that we get to help them grow in this space and learn in this space. It really is amazing.
Yep.
So now that you're focused on managing the venue as well, what do you what is it that you absolutely love about working in that space, and what keeps you excited about it every day?
People.
Cool.
I think that's the biggest thing. And that's something that I've talked to Annie about a lot is I love people. And there may be some who would disagree with this, but I am actually very much an introvert.
Interesting.
I'm an extroverted introvert, so I will come home at the end of the day and I'm done. I'm absolutely exhausted. But I love one-on-one interactions and I love being able to serve people. And so I think for me, the venue is much more of I love all of the buildup to the actual event. And then I'm happy to bring in help for the actual event. But the buildup is so fun for me to be able to walk through a space and design everything that they're wanting and be able to go, okay, what's your vision? What are you planning? What's your schedule? Where are the holes? Where are the things that you haven't thought through? And let's fix those. Let's make sure that when you walk in, you're hands off.
Yeah.
And you can have the best experience possible with doing the least amount of work because everything has been prepared in advance. And so I think that's really fun for me. I really enjoy that.
I love that. And anything else on the horizon for you?
Having another baby.
Fun.
Add that to the mix.
Nice.
No, I think it's just like pushing the boundaries of what our businesses can do, adding to the family, surviving.
Yeah, that doesn't that's not stressful.
No, it's great.
It's easy.
I think
just attach them to your back
I know,
and you're good.
That's one of those other things with Annie. I don't know how she does it. It's pretty crazy. Having a spouse work that closely with you, but also like the sacrifices that are required are next level. So
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Lots on the horizon. I wish I knew all of it, but stay tuned.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to see. And that's what's fun about being young entrepreneurs. We'll see each other continue to do that and continue to push each other and continue to grow. So thank you again for being on this podcast.
Absolutely.
Thank you again for having amazing florals, working awesome with all of our brides that we've had and all of the work that you've done. We're really impressed, really grateful. Love the experience piece of it because it's such an important piece. So, and thank you listeners for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to Weddings Unwrapped. And if you enjoyed this episode, leave us a review. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and it means a ton if you share. We'll be back next week with another inspiring story. Until then, keep chasing your dreams, and that is a wrap. Ben, you're amazing. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.